Late at night, when the world finally becomes quiet, a strange sound sometimes echoes through the darkness. A long, haunting call. A dog howling into the night. It can sound sad. It can sound mysterious. And sometimes, it even sounds unsettling. For centuries, people created stories to explain this behavior. In some cultures, a dog crying at night was believed to be a warning of bad luck. In others, people thought dogs could sense spirits or supernatural events long before humans could. But modern science tells a very different story. And the real explanation is far more fascinating. To understand why dogs cry at night, we need to travel back thousands of years to a time long before dogs lived in human homes. Long before dog beds, toys, and fenced backyards. Back then, their ancestors lived in the wild. They were wolves. And in the wilderness, communication is essential for survival. A wolf pack can spread out across vast territories while hunting. Sometimes individual wolves can become separated by several miles. In those moments, wolves rely on one of the most powerful communication tools in the animal kingdom: the howl. A wolf's howl can travel incredibly far through the night air. Research in animal behavior suggests that under the right environmental conditions, wolf howls can travel distances of up to several miles. This long-distance communication helps wolves locate one another, maintain social bonds, and defend their territory. A single howl can carry multiple messages. It can say, "I'm here," or "Where is the pack?" or even, "This territory belongs to us," although dogs have lived alongside humans for thousands of years. Their evolutionary history has not disappeared. Genetic studies show that domestic dogs share over 99% of their DNA with gray wolves. Because of this, many ancient wolf behaviors still remain deeply embedded in canine instincts. Howling is one of those behaviors. Even though modern dogs no longer roam forests in packs, the biological instinct to vocalize in this way still exists inside them. And sometimes, especially at night, that instinct becomes active. But wolves are not the only reason dogs howl after dark. Dogs experience the world through senses that are dramatically different from our own. Their hearing, for example, is far more sensitive than human hearing. Humans typically hear sounds between about 20 Hz and 20,000 Hz. Dogs, however, you can hear frequencies reaching up to around 60,000 to 65,000 Hz. That means dogs can detect high-frequency sounds that are completely invisible to human ears. They can also hear sounds from much greater distances. In fact, some studies suggest dogs may detect certain sounds up to 4 times farther away than humans can. What seems like a silent night to you might actually be full of activity to your dog. Distant traffic. Animals moving through the darkness. Other dogs barking far away. Or even the faint sound of a siren miles down the road. Certain sounds, especially high-pitched ones, can trigger a dog's instinct to howl. Emergency sirens are a well-known example. To a human, a siren is just an alert signal. But to a dog, the frequency pattern of a siren can resemble the acoustic structure of a wolf howl. When dogs hear that sound, their instinctive response may be to answer it. This is why many dogs howl along with sirens, musical instruments, or even certain human voices. In their perception, another member of the pack may be calling, and their natural response is to reply. But sound is not the only reason dogs cry at night. Dogs are also deeply social animals. Just like their wolf ancestors, dogs evolved to live in cooperative groups. Social bonds are incredibly important for their emotional well-being. Behavioral research shows that dogs form strong attachments to both other dogs and humans. In many ways, a dog's human family becomes its pack. Because of this, separation can sometimes trigger vocal behaviors. When dogs feel lonely or isolated, they may howl as a way of expressing distress. Scientists often refer to this behavior as separation-related vocalization. It is closely linked to what veterinarians call separation anxiety. When a dog howls in these situations, it may actually be trying to reconnect with the members of its social group. In simple terms, your dog might be calling for you. Another scientifically documented reason for howling is environmental alerting. Dogs are extremely sensitive to changes in their surroundings. Their powerful senses allow them to detect unusual sounds, unfamiliar scents, or unexpected movement. When something seems out of place, dogs sometimes respond by vocalizing. A howl can serve as a warning signal. It may alert other animals in the area, or it may communicate to potential intruders that the territory is occupied. In the wild, wolves often howl to signal territorial presence to neighboring packs. Domestic dogs sometimes display similar behavior. In these cases, the howl acts less like a cry and more like a broadcast message, a signal that something unusual is happening. However, not every nighttime howl has a behavioral explanation. Sometimes, vocalization can be related to physical discomfort. Pain, illness, or injury may cause dogs to whine, cry, or howl more frequently. Because nighttime environments are quieter and less distracting, animals may become more aware of discomfort during these hours. Veterinary behavior specialists often recommend monitoring sudden changes in vocal behavior. If a dog begins howling excessively or in unusual patterns, it may be worth consulting a veterinarian. But in most cases, nighttime howling is not a sign of illness. It is simply a natural expression of instincts that have existed for thousands of years. When the world becomes quiet, when distant sounds travel farther through the night air, and when ancient instincts awaken inside the canine brain, your dog may feel the urge to vocalize. In that moment, your quiet neighborhood briefly transforms into something much older. Not just a modern street filled with houses and streetlights, but an echo of the ancient wilderness, a place where wolves once lifted their voices toward the sky, calling out to their pack across forests and mountains. So the next time you hear your dog crying at night, you may hear sadness, you may hear mystery, but what you are really hearing is something much deeper. The ancient communication system of wolves, still living inside the loyal companion sleeping in your home today. And in that haunting nighttime call, you can still hear the distant echo of the wild.